What do you know about President John F. Kennedy? John Fitzgerald Kennedy, often referred to as Jack Kennedy or JFK, was the 35th President of the United States, serving from 1961 until 1963. He was a member of the Democratic Party and one of the youngest presidents in American history, being inaugurated at age 43. Early life and education. Kennedy was born on May 29, 1917, in Brookline, Massachusetts, into a wealthy and powerful family. He was the son of Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., a successful businessman and United States ambassador to the United Kingdom, and Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy, a social activist. Kennedy attended Choate Rosemary Hall in Connecticut, Harvard University, and the University of Virginia Law School. He joined the United States Navy during World War II and served in the Pacific Fleet. Political career. After the war, Kennedy entered politics. He was elected to the United States House of Representatives in 1946 and the United States Senate in 1952. In 1956, he was the Democratic Party's vice presidential nominee, but lost to Richard Nixon. In 1960, Kennedy defeated Nixon to become president. He was the youngest president in American history and the first Catholic president. Accomplishments of President Kennedy. Cold War. Kennedy implemented a number of policies to address the Cold War, including the creation of the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, and the National Defense Education Act of 1961. He also took some steps to improve relations with the Soviet Union, including the Vienna Summit of 1961. Cuban Missile Crisis. The Cuban Missile Crisis was a serious diplomatic crisis between the United States and the Soviet Union in 1962. Kennedy ordered a blockade of Cuba to prevent the Soviet Union from deploying intermediate-range ballistic missiles on the island. The crisis ended without war, and is considered one of the most dangerous moments of the Cold War. Decolonization movement. Kennedy supported the decolonization movement in Africa and Asia. He helped to liberate Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa from colonial rule. Domestic reforms. Kennedy implemented a number of domestic reforms, including the creation of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, and the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a landmark law that sought to end racial discrimination in the United States. Assassination of President Kennedy. President Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963, in Dallas, Texas. He was riding in a presidential motorcade when he was shot from a nearby building. He died a few hours later at Parkland Hospital. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested for the assassination of Kennedy, but was shot and killed by Jack Ruby 2 days later. The Warren Commission, which was established by President Lyndon B. Johnson to investigate the assassination, concluded that Oswald was a lone gunman. However, many people still believe that there was a larger conspiracy behind the assassination. Legacy of President Kennedy. President Kennedy is one of the most popular presidents in American history. He is remembered as a young, dynamic, and ambitious leader. He left a lasting legacy, including accomplishments in foreign policy and domestic reform.